Lenders Podcast with your hosts from Hard Money Bankers, Jason Balin and Chris Haddon. This podcast is sponsored by hardmoneymastermind.com.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the show. We do appreciate it. Today we are going to be discussing the many benefits of being in a mastermind group. We got some stories to tell. Quick question for you, pop quiz. Do you know where the term mastermind was first coined?
Is that a question for our audience or a question for me?
No, it's only you and me talking. You might know. I want to say it.
I can Google it, but no.
So it was first coined, I'm pretty sure, by Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. And there was a chapter in the book about masterminds and, early on entrepreneurs, like in the early days of America anyway, getting together to learn from one another. And that's kind of where the term came from. And it's expanded into, a whole industry in a number of different niches too. So we have some examples. So the first one that we're going to talk about is when we joined Russell Brunson's mastermind group. This is about 10 years ago. Is that about right? About 2014, in that range?
Yep.
About 10 years ago, we were probably 6 or 7 years into running HMB, into being full-time entrepreneurs. We were 35 or so at the time, and we wanted to learn, grow, expand. It was that stage, right? That season of our entrepreneurial life where we were growing our company. We wanted to be around other people doing the same. And we knew of Russell Brunson's group from social media and stuff like that. And we knew that there were some big hitters in that group, some 8-9 figure annual revenue. And it was right around the time that he was launching ClickFunnels, I think, right? Like during the time we were in the mastermind.
Yeah. We were in a mastermind pre-ClickFunnels. Like ClickFunnels hadn't even launched at the time. Like we were beta users on the platform. So it was early on. And think about it like this. Like you really, in order to be involved in a proper mastermind group, first there's different seasons in your business, right? And there's lots of different things that you want to focus and concentrate on. Like early on in your business, it's always like the mechanics and the engineering of your actual business, right? You need to learn everything you need to learn everything you can and execute everything you can, right? So like early on in our business, like all we cared about was like doing deals, learning, marketing, everything that we could of the core mechanics of private lending. How does it work? Everything about it. And it was hard back then because there was no education on this. So we didn't really have that place. And then, a different season in your business is like, cool, I need to scale the hell out of this and I need to market. So then you concentrate on marketing efforts, right? And then sometimes you worry about operations or hiring employees and that, sometimes capital raising, right? So, you do a little sub niche and you do that. But, think about it. Like if you wanted a mastermind with like-minded lenders like yourself in your core market, there's really only so many that you could potentially do that with. And a lot of folks wouldn't even want to do it that way because they look at other lenders in their market as competition. And I get that. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're competition. I think there's lots of opportunities in your market to be allies with your other lenders, do deals together, share deals, share capital, share opportunities, share experiences, learn from each other that way. They might have had a bad experience with a borrower and you might say, you know what, I don't want to do a deal with them because they screwed so-and-so out of money. But in order to do so, you got to expand. And, there might only be, a dozen private lenders in your local market, but there's hundreds or thousands, throughout the country. And it's so funny about expanding and learning from other private lenders, maybe even some lenders that do less business than you do, because they always have value to give. And it might not be what you were expecting to get out of them, but there's always value to give. Even if they have less experience with you in lending, they have life experiences that will help you expand your lending portfolio that you probably wouldn't even expect that they would have had.
Yeah, we have plenty of examples of that, both from our inner circle and also when we were in Russell's. Like, so the basic format of a mastermind, in case people aren't familiar, is that everyone gets their 30 minutes in front of the room, where you present to the room a short spiel about what your business is, who you are, and what you want to improve, grow, what you're working on, right? And you'll get feedback from everyone else in the room. And in the example of Russell's mastermind, everyone has a very different background and they're in different niches. So their feedback comes from all kinds of different angles. And the stuff that other people say that you don't even anticipate, you don't even know that you wanted to learn it or needed to learn it. And then you hear them explain about something and you're like, wow, that is a huge takeaway that would have never occurred to me. And so that was very, very apparent in Russell's mastermind all the way back then. And that happens now too in our inner circle. Like some of the feedback after a session, they're 2 full day sessions. After day 1, people will be like, yeah, like I've already gotten so many of my questions answered just by watching everyone else go that I don't know what I'm going to talk about when I get up there because all my questions have been answered.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an exaggeration, but like that feeling is exactly the one you want when you're spending time in a mastermind room.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. I think typically people come to mastermind groups with questions or like immediate needs of what has to be accomplished. And I think by the time they even go up and speak, a lot of that stuff's already been accomplished, right? Because a lot of people have the same challenges, right? And a lot of people, are in similar spots. We've talked about the mastermind group that we've built in the past, because we typically do recaps after we do the inner circle group. But, the point is the format that we follow, which I really, really like. And, if the group members wanted to change it, we obviously wouldn't be against it, but I think they like it as well, is the brag ass share format. And I think it's great. You brag a little bit about yourself because I think it's important to brag about yourself. So everybody who you're meeting knows who you are. There's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of the brags might not even be bragging about
just don't do that
lending
for the whole time.
Yeah. It might not even be bragging about private lending. It might be bragging about there's some people in our group that are extremely successful real estate investors and real estate agents. And I'm like, hey, like you forgot the fact that like you sold $2 billion worth of real estate. Like, did you forget how impressive that is? Like, yeah, you might only have a few $1 million private lending portfolio, but you did all this and people can benefit and value from that. So there's brag, there's ask for help, and then there's share. Share is important because, everyone has something to provide value about, even if they might not think that. And, it's good to, to share something that worked for you or software that you built or something that, I don't know, you've seen. So I think a lot of mastermind components kind of work on that. But, the other interesting part about a mastermind group is it's not just the education, but that and learning, it's about the relationship building. I know inside our mastermind group, and I don't think this was planned out this way, so many people are doing deals together. They're sharing capital, they're sharing deals, they're sharing opportunities. We got an opportunity that I haven't even told you about yet. That's in Virginia, and they know that, some of the group members know that we're in Virginia, and they reached out because it was a large loan amount, and they wanted to see if we either wanted to participate with them or they can broker it to us. And how we structured it. So there's just, it's, there's so much value in just like, I don't want to say the word networking because, that means a lot, but like, when we go to dinner with everybody, when we have, breakout sessions, like actually creating really, really solid relationships with people.
It's been super cool. Like these relationships that have formed from the mastermind group, and then twice a year you get together and you hang out and do it all over again. I mean, playing golf, going out to dinner, like it's a blast. And then for us as the organizers, it's been really, really cool to see the growth that has happened from the other members of the group. And we were saying this on a call earlier today, that it's happened several times that we've seen people go from that 5 million outstanding to 10 to 12 to 15 in a pretty short amount of time after learning, the basic game plan of like, we have a pretty good idea at this point in time, like how to run a 20, 40, $50 million private lending company with a team of 10 because we've done it. And then we've also done the geographic expansions that some people are interested in. And now we're seeing the other inner circle members on their growth trajectory doing similar stuff. possibly even shortcutting it because they have a lot of the resources from the group that people before this group happened just had to figure out on their own, right? Or we've seen companies over the years that aren't around anymore, aren't with us anymore, because there are some real fundamental flaws in their business model. And being around 25 or 30 other lenders that are doing the same thing you're doing should be able to prevent that, should be able to prevent any major like money losing mistakes that is not supposed to be in the private lending business. I mean, we're forced mortgage lenders. We're supposed to take the least amount of risk in a deal. If that's not the case, you're doing something wrong. So anyway, just kind of, just off the top of my head, ideas about all the different things that come from these meetings, from these relationships, and how beneficial it can be to anyone's business. It's cool.
Well, I remember. Go ahead.
No, I was saying like you mentioned the different seasons in your career, and I was thinking about while you were saying that about how different kinds of masterminds fit into that, right? Like when we were in Russell's, it was growth time, it was marketing time, learning sales, learning a lot of stuff like that. And with the inner circle, it's more focused. We're focused on private lending. How can we be absolute black belts with 3 stripes at this very niche thing? And then later on, maybe it's, like we got a good amount of net worth, we're older guys, maybe it's Tiger 21 time, right? And then you get in a room with those guys and everyone's talking about their portfolio strategies and stuff like that. So that's a cool thought about how different types of mastermind groups can most benefit you during the different seasons of your career.
Yeah, I mean, I equate that to typically my book list, my reading list. Like when you're starting out in a new business or something you're interested in, you go all in on just the technical side of it. And then, growth or marketing or this or that or personal finance. And like, you just nerd out on all of it, of what's best for you. We were talking to somebody who just is coming to an upcoming inner circle group of ours. And we're like, hey, out of curiosity, and this is a few weeks ago, Chris and I were talking to him over Zoom when we met him. And we're like, hey, just out of curiosity, like, why were you interested in joining the inner circle group? And he's like, well, what do you mean? He goes, whenever I do something, I'm going to go all in and take it seriously. And I'm going to pay for, the best in that industry to help me. And, this group is the best in the industry with the biggest and best private lenders that are actually doing deals and hard money lenders that are doing deals. Like, I wouldn't think about trying to expand my business or take it to the next level without their help. And that's what it's about. And I agree. And that's why, we were in Russell Brunson's group at the time, because, we were 6 years into the technical side of the business and we wanted to grow it. And we wanted to really geek out on internet marketing and, learning how to scale the crap out of Hard Money Bankers at the time, 10 years ago. And that certainly helped us. So it was like, cool, $25,000 to join your inner circle group, Russell. Cool. Here's my credit card, or here's my wire. Like, no problem. Right? Like, is it a little bit scary to pull out a credit card and do that? The unknown. It's like, sure. But
yeah, sure.
Like, guess what? We had, one of the things that he said to me, or he said to us, that I'll never forget. And I've used this line tons of times. And I've really, really tried to be diligent about this as well when talking to people in our group, is he used the term fastest path to cash. He needed to figure out how we could recoup that $25,000 investment as quick as possible. What value can he provide to do so? And typically it's value that you get like hour 1, day 1. And that's just what it is. And that is top of mind to me, especially when I'm talking to every single new member of the inner circle group and existing members of the inner circle group, is like, yeah, I'm not going to stroke them a check back for, their investment into the group, but like, what can I do to provide them value or a shortcut to help them as quick as possible? And there's there's several that times during the group that someone will be like, wow, I can't believe I never thought about this. We had a group member who has a lot of money deployed himself and through his investor network. And he's been in this business a long time, not as long as us, but he's been in this business a long time. He's got a big portfolio. And, we were talking about, he was trying to raise capital, and whatever. He's going to listen to this podcast and hear this. I'm not going to say his name, but like, he'll know who it is when I say this. But he said, we were like, hey, listen, like, why are you using the term like invest? You know, he's trying to raise some more money because he's trying to expand, and he was trying to get investor capital, and he was using the term invest, like investors, like, hey, invest with me in these notes, invest. And we're like, co-lend. Use the word co-lend. It's the difference between night and day.
That was good.
And he was like, holy crap, you're right. And like, it hit him, right? Like, it was like an aha moment. It's like, hey, they're not investing with you. They're co-lending. Use the term co-lending. And, you know, at one of the breakout sessions or whatever, lunches, he reached out to a few people, changed the terminology on some of
He made a post like in between day 1 and day 2.
And yeah, like I think night and day.
Yeah. No, you threw up a post on Facebook in between day 1 and day 2, changing the terminology and using co-lending. Do you want to co-lend with me on these deals kind of thing? And you got all kinds of inquiries. And that's not even like a standard way of raising capital. You could do it. You could do it to like everyone you know on Facebook. But he happened to pull the trigger on that and had huge results just from, you know, a little tweak.
Yeah.
A little tweak to the terminology.
Oh, and we did the same thing. You know, when Russell Brunson said, hey, fastest path to cash, like I remember like this was pre-mastermind. We did like a call with him, and the value he provided us, we're like, God dang it. Like, why didn't I think of that? And because like, you know, we all have tunnel vision, right? We're all kind of stuck in our businesses. We're doing the best that we can with what we have. And, you know, going to groups, it really opens up your mind. And like, I've personally gotten value from every single person in our mastermind group.
For sure.
Paid to be there. I've personally got I've got, you know, here's my Hard Money Mastermind notepad. You know, we have lots of different ones, different sizes that we've used over the years. And like, I fill that up with notes as well. And it's like, oh, wow, that's working well. We should try that. So anyways, like mastermind groups are where they're at. And I'd encourage anybody, you know, encourage staff / challenge anybody inside your business, like figure out what season of your business you're in currently. What part of your business are you in right now? What do you want to work on? Where do you want to be? You know, if you're trying to not do anything more than you're currently doing, then continue to just do it the way you're doing it. But like, I'd encourage them to find a group, a mastermind group of like-minded people in whatever you're trying to focus on at the moment. And, you know, give it a try and go all in with them and see if it's a good fit. And, you know, it's typically always worth the price of admission.
For sure it is. If anyone does want to learn more and wants to check out our Inner Circle, next meeting is November in Tampa. Check out Hard Money Mastermind, innercircle.com. And we will see you guys here next time on the podcast.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Private Lenders Podcast. Please note that the opinions stated by all the speakers on this show are only opinions and not intended for legal, financial, or accounting advice. Please make sure to always check with your own legal, accounting, and financial professionals. If you enjoyed this episode of the Private Lenders Podcast, we'd appreciate it if you would spread the word. Make sure to check out hardmoneymastermind.com, the #1 free community for new and experienced private and hard money lenders.